Hello, everybody, and welcome into another preview show here at the Hockey Raiders YouTube channel. I'm your host, Matthew Zator, and we are doing the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche second round series here. And it was a little bit at the beginning with the Colorado, especially for Colorado, it was a little
Mhm.
in doubt. I mean, that first game was a little insane, is
Ooh.
probably a simple word for it, I guess. It was pretty crazy, but then the Avalanche went on and just um, basically dismantled the
Mhm.
Winnipeg Jets. I mean, their goaltending, Hellebuck was not very good, and everyone is anticipating the other way around.
Mhm.
Georgiev being the one that was going to have a problem, but he kind of settled down throughout the rest of the
Mhm.
series. And then over to the Dallas Stars, they also started off the series pretty rough. They lost the first two games, but then rattled off 4 out of 5 wins, and then kind of just silenced the Golden Knights. I mean, they did go to Game 7, but that's because there was those 2 wins at the beginning. So I'll start with you, Stefano, on that series. What were your takeaways from it? I mean, the Avalanche pretty much fixed themselves, I guess,
Mhm.
after that first game. But what are your thoughts on that series?
I mean, I absolutely agree. Come game one, I thought it was nothing that I even expected to see in a game. I did not see the 7-6 even happening close. I thought 7-6 would be the first couple goals in the first two games. But I was very worried. Georgiev did not play well ourselves. The defense did not play well in front of him, which many looked over. But coming through game 2 to 5, it was just a steadily increase of this is a team that's mainly full of players back from the 22 championships, and Georgiev really stepped back up, which is something that I'm really glad to see that it wasn't mainly him just having to be hauled around and having the Avalanche score 5+ goals, which they did, but he
Yeah.
definitely stepped up, finishing with over 900 save percentage. It's something that I was very shocked and very looking forward to seeing more into the second round of being confident of having good, reliable goaltending as well to back up what we're known for already in having this fast-paced game and scoring a bunch of goals.
Yeah, I mean, the Avalanche looked pretty much like the Avalanche from
Hmm.
regular season, they started becoming that more offensive juggernaut that we were used to seeing, with
Hmm.
McKinnon and Makar and all that. So yeah, it was an interesting first game. I mean, the Jets just didn't look right. I mean, throughout the
Hmm.
rest, I mean, they were one of the best defensive teams in the NHL, and they didn't look it at all. And
Hmm.
Hellebuck also looked human. He didn't look like the Vezina Trophy winner, which he'll probably win the
Yeah.
Vezina.
Oh yeah.
It's not on playoff performance; it's on the regular season.
Hmm.
So yeah, well, we'll see what how the Avalanche do in the next one, as we're going to talk about. Jacob, just before that, talk about the Stars in that first round series. I mean, yes, there was doubt at the beginning. It looked like the Golden Knights were looking like the Golden Knights of old, where they're good in the playoffs, and but then the Stars kind of again fixed themselves and started playing like the Stars from the regular season. So, what are your takeaways from that series?
Yeah, it was definitely a rough start. People were definitely getting a little bit worried, being like, "Oh man, they're gonna blow it." They had this kind of momentum going into the postseason, being like they're the one of the best teams in the West. They really have this big scoring momentum going into that, and they have this hope that Ottinger is going to get to his playoff, caliber goaltending that they're really hoping that he could do, which ultimately he did. He put up his playoff caliber numbers. He got away from his regular season goaltending numbers, which were very average, and he got to those stellar numbers that everybody was hoping he would get to. So that was great. But the worry at the start was that things were going to taper off. And it was nice to see them pull it together. Everything kind of locked down, and the series went from things could get out of hand to you could almost argue boring in a sense that things were really defensively oriented. There wasn't a lot of high scoring. There wasn't a lot of entertaining, huge, big plays going on. Everything was kind of just chip and chase, big hits, move along the boards. It was just a tight-knit series all around, and everything was just hard fought and just big bodied. It wasn't a wide open, high scoring series by any means. So, it was tough through and through, and I think it wore them down a little bit. I think it'll be interesting to see how they play Colorado going into the second round.
Yeah, I mean, the Stars, they kind of played that real like Nashville Canucks type thing where they
Mhm.
were going through, had the 0-0 game forever and that one, and the Golden Knights pulled it out 2-0 in game 6. and then the Stars winning in game seven, again, a very low scoring game. So it is, and some of the guys really stepped up, and we'll talk about them in a bit here. Let's talk about some storylines in this series, which is, yeah, Stars Avalanche. Probably, maybe everyone kind of maybe anticipating this as being a second round matchup because the Stars first in the Central, Avalanche third in the Central. Maybe everyone anticipating maybe the Jets were there, but it's not really a surprise. These two teams are here. So, Stefano, what things are you following in this series as we're going in here?
I mean, this is going to be an interesting one. Obviously, this is the first time they're meeting since the 2020 playoffs in that
Mhm.
second round up to game seven. There's going to be a lot of matchups. Valerie Nichushkin, obviously from Dallas, Matt Duchene from Colorado. These are teams that have know each other very well. Obviously, we have Joel Kiviranta now on our side, so hopefully he could pull off that game seven for us. But for storylines, I'm really hoping to see if the Avalanche can continue that momentum off the round one. I think that was the most shocking round one easily. I think everyone, like myself and Edwin, say that this is a 6-7 game series, not super high scoring as we all thought of. I want to be able to see if we can continue riding that high of that 5 game underdog, and the betting line just came up. We're plus 135 to be continuing to be the underdog, which is again, it could be something. I don't know what they're thinking, but obviously I want to continue riding that high of being the underdog and using all of this doubt on us to continue into round two.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, the Avalanche is kind of interesting having them as the underdog because they're such a strong team. But the Stars have been one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
They are the Western Conference champions. So
hmm
from the regular season, Jacob, what storylines are you looking for the Stars going in here?
I think it's going to be more along the lines of uh, can they maintain and regather themselves? Can they, you know, hunker down and really bring themselves back up to where they were during the regular season? Do they really have that confidence back in themselves to be the top team that they really were? Because they were struggling right out the gate. So their top players weren't playing like top players. Like they have 0 points out of Joe Pavelski. They have 1 point out of Thomas Harley. They have 1 point out of Rupa Hintz, and they are struggling to get points out of some of these big time players. So, it's the storyline is really going to be, can those big time players come back and rise up to the occasion again? Are they going to be able to be the production type guys that need to show up in these types of games because it's crunch time? The Avalanche are no joke. They have the star power more than just about any other team in this league, and they're going to have a lot of things getting thrown at them. Jake Ottinger is only going to be able to do so much. He is still a great goaltender, but he's not going to be able to stop an onslaught that's just going to be thrown at him night after night after night. So, can the defense still stop them? But can the forwards and the other stars on the other end of the stars' top end
Mhm.
produce like they're supposed to again? That's where I'm going to be following.
Yeah, it was interesting to see Joe Pavelski not be a big factor because he always
Mhm.
is. We talked about him in the first the first round
Mhm.
preview, so we'll see if he can do it again. Well, I'll keep going on that. Who are you watching in this series, Jacob, with the Stars? Is it those Stars? Not pardon the pun, Stars. Is it the Pavelski guys, or I mean, like guys like Wyatt Johnston stepped up. I think he has what he had 4 goals in the series at the end, 3 or 4. I Who are you watching here?
Yeah, definitely looking at the kid, Wyatt Johnston. He had 4 goals, 7 points. I led the team in both categories. So he's definitely somebody who's going to be on everybody's radar, keeping an eye on him. He's definitely somebody up top. Jason Robertson is somebody you can always keep an eye on, but uh, somebody I think is flying under the radar just because he's not scoring points doesn't mean he's not having an impact. And that's Chris Tanev. He's
Mhm.
playing outstanding defensively right now, and he's just been an absolute lockdown type defenseman for the Stars on the back end. So shutting down anything that the Avalanche have to throw at them is just going to be absolutely key, especially in big type situations, whether it be a power play or whether it be just late in the game, having Tanev out there to be locking things down and just really, really being that shutdown type player that he needs to be. He's a +6 with no points. So he doesn't need to be producing to still be an impact type player right now. And that's something that the Stars really, really need him to be. So between Tanev and I can even throw in another player. I could argue Esa Lindell, who played a big role in the game seven as well.
Mhm.
He's somebody that you can throw in there on the defensive end. I think defense in general is just going to be a big part of the Stars' uh, kind of overall vibe for this type of a series.
Yeah, Tanev is well, he was acquired for that reason, to solidify that, and he's going to see a lot of Nathan MacKinnon, I'm assuming. He's probably going to be a hard match for him. Stefano, I know what we said in the first round. Don't really need to talk about Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar. They're going to be good. Who else are you watching against the Stars here?
I'm gonna go throw it two. I'm gonna start with Georgiev just to reiterate. Again, this could be another goaltending matchup. He started the first game with just over a 700 save percentage and managed to finish with a 900. This is a series again, regular season stats we brought up in the last series of Winnipeg dominated. This time Avalanche did when it came to 3-1 in the season series. Both teams managed to score a combined 35 goals. So offense is going to be a big key here. So I'm looking for Georgiev to really continue his confidence in making sure this could be a good matchup between Andre, which we've seen be able had that looked well up to game three. He looked rattled, he looked shaken, but come game four, he's locked it in. He's been phenomenal. But a true key player for me, I'm looking at is Casey Middlestat. He's looked really good on that second line. I have a stat here that he's on 5-on-5. He has outscored Winnipeg 6-3 and outshot them 47-34 while he was on the ice. Him with Zach Parise, who's I've seen just looked beyond my expectations, even better than before. I thought he'd be a third to fourth line guy, helping with some better speed and with that. But paired with him with Artturi Lehkonen, I think he's looked really confident. This is obviously a guy who's proven that he's want to show off more from this trade from Buffalo. So I'm really hoping that he can continue that second row depth line and really show he's a player that Jared Bednar and Chris McFarland really want to show for the future.
Mhm. Well, Jacob knows Casey Middlestad quite well. So
I can give you plenty insight on Casey Middlestat. All you gotta do is ask.
yeah, he's been really good since he joined the Avalanche. So definitely living up to what they thought they were getting in him. So we'll see how he does in this series. All right, let's move to some keys to victory, and I'll stay with you, Stefano. How are the Avalanche going to get through the Stars and make it to the Western Conference Final here?
For me, I think it's got to be their key to speed and aggressiveness. I think this is going to be a complete flip-flop from the Vegas side of their style and tact that Dallas have seen throughout the 7 games. I think if the Avs can get early on with McKinnon and Makar and continue this fast-paced action and really put the pressure on Ottinger, it's going to need to come early. If they start slow again in game one and aren't able to defend well and Georgiev can't continue well and it's a back to an uphill climb, this can go very one-sided for Dallas. But I think if they continue that speed and what we saw with constant zone pressure, continuing the special teams, which has been looked really good, we need to get Onger off his game as soon as possible, which isn't going to be easy with the players mentioned defensively, but it's going to be a key issue come game one.
Mhm. Jacob, what about you for the Stars? Are they? I mean, like I said, they're on a bit of a roll here. They have only lost once in the last what is it? Would be 5 games.
Mhm.
So how are they going to continue this against the Avs?
I feel like I'm stealing his answer at this point because it's almost
Same
identical.
thing,
But
right?
but honestly, no, it really is getting to the goaltender as quick as
Mhm.
possible because if you can get on top of Georgiev as fast as you can get the goal first. As soon as you can get the goal first, that's how the Stars really, really can perfect their style of play. That's how they can really get to their shutdown mode as fast as possible. Get the first goal, get that second goal. Once they're up 1-0, 2-0, then they can really start to get that shutdown mode going. They don't have to score 5, 6 goals. They're
Mhm.
not the Edmonton Oilers. They don't have to play like that. They can get to those 1, 2, maybe even 3 goal games, and then they're really in a vice grip type situation where they can just suffocate everything and just keep everything to the outside, keep everything, just chip it right back out over the blue line, and then they're just frustrating everything that the Avalanche can probably conjure up. Nathan MacKinnon's speed doesn't mean a darn thing if all he's doing is circling around over the blue line. It doesn't matter what he wants to do if all he's doing is spinning in circles. it doesn't matter even a little bit. So, but that's where the Stars excel. So get to Georgiev quick, get that first goal. That's really the key part to winning this type of a series is you got to get on top of them fast and then shut them down.
The same thing. Yeah. I mean, both goaltenders are definitely going to need to be, you don't want them to have confidence because shown they can get on a roll, right? So yeah, that's going to be interesting. The Avalanche play with a lot of speed and skill and rush. So if the Stars can slow them down, yeah, definitely be a different series. All right, let's move on to some X factors in this series, and I'll stay with you, Jacob. What are some X factors? Situation, player, what do you got?
I think physicality is going to be an X factor in this series. I think the Stars are maybe a little bit bigger than the Avalanche maybe are willing to play. I think the Avalanche are going to try and use their speed to maybe outmaneuver the Stars, and then if the Stars can wear them down and really grind at them, then again the speed won't really matter as much if the situations and the scenarios aren't there to get along the boards or get through the open ice if they have to grind their way into corners. And then again, your speed doesn't mean anything if the momentum isn't there to actually use it, or if the opportunity to claim the open ice isn't there. So taking away space, using physicality, and actually being a burden and using that, shut down vice grip type play that Peter DeBoer is using in the playoffs so far with them. I think it's a great opportunity and a great X factor for them to use and something that they've shown that they can excel at. They got a lot of big players, a lot of good defensemen to use it. Jamie Benn has shown that he's willing to throw his body plenty in these playoffs. So he's someone that can lead the way and do something like that. And I think it's going to be really, really fun to see how they do it.
I'm still waiting for Stankoven to be a big factor. I mean, he was a bit noticeable in the first round,
Mhm.
but I think he may be good, really good in this one. We'll see. Stefano, what about for the Avalanche? What do you see as an X factor?
I think it's got to go back to our special teams. I think they were a big contribute to the first round series. I think they did a great job on the power play, both lines. When really, but you can't really call it a line one and a line two. It's a power play. They're all special. Even both these teams, no matter who you set out on these 5-on-4s, they're going to be a key factor.
Mhm.
But again, I think they got to be really key impactful players, especially with this Dallas Stars penalty kill. It's going to be important to get any opportunity you can. Obviously, as you go further in the series, penalties aren't a given. They're going to be something that's going to be rewarded and something that you got to capitalize every single time. And this goes with the penalty kill. This is a team that really helped shut us down as Georgiev played better. The penalty kill got better. And being able to shut guys like Pavelski and Rope Hintz from creating those opportunities and having Jason Robertson, Thomas Harley, and Wyatt Johnson focus the carrying and limit them is going to be something that really needs to be focused on.
Mhm. Yeah, special teams. I think we've mentioned it in every series preview here. So they're big things
Yeah.
to focus on. That's for sure. All right, quickly, let's go to some series MVPs. Jacob, who's going to be the series MVP in this one?
I think it's safe to say that it's going to have to be Jake Ottinger. If they're going to win, it's going to be on the back of the goaltender. He's going to have to come up big. He's going to have to make the saves. He's going to have to be the last line of defense when it comes to shutting down the Colorado offense. The defense is going to be a big part of helping him do that, but he's still going to be the guy that's going to have to make the big saves. And, he can try and do it as nonchalant as he want and, maybe make a paddle down while half looking at it, big save for save of the year type thing. Cool, sure, that's flashy and fun for everybody to watch at home, but he's still going to have to be that guy. He's going to have to put up some ridiculous numbers. He's already sitting at, I think it was a 1.95 goals against and a point 925 save percentage. So he's going to have to be sitting around that same mark by the end of it, if not even better, if they're really going to be standing a good chance against this Colorado offense. It's lethal. It's absolutely dangerous beyond all imagining, and it's still something that's going to cause them problems. So he's going to have to be the guy.
Mhm. Yeah, Stefano, is that the same for the Avs as the goaltending, or are you gonna go with some of their bigger guys for the MVP?
I definitely would say it's Georgiev. Everything that Jacob mentioned, I definitely want to say with Georgiev. But for me, it's got to be Mikko Rantanen. When I say in 5 games, he has 2 goals and 7 assists for 9 points, and I say that's underperforming, you might say, wow, that's ridiculous. But when only two goals, and yeah, two goals only came in game five. This
Mm.
is a guy who scored over 55 goals in a season. His shot attempts and shot on goals have increased each game as the series went on. This is a guy that needs to be more productive and more confident in shooting his lanes. We've seen from the first line to the fourth line goals from all the lines. And if we're able to see a guy like Mikko Rantanen be able to take away some of the pressure, which again is hard already when you have playing with guys like McKinnon, and Rantanen himself and Makar. But being able to be more aggressive and if he sees an open lane, being able to take it, and now noticing that Dallas has to put more pressure on him really opens up different lanes of and avenues.
Yeah, Ratton, it's funny. I say the stat line. You're like, what do you, he needs to step up? What are you talking about? But yeah, he only two goals in one game. It
Hmm.
definitely has to do a bit more in the overall series, right? All right, prediction time. Let's predict this series. Jacob, who do you got winning this one?
I think it's going to be a war down to the last game. It's going to be a 7 game series, and I think the Stars will pull it out. And I really think out of the 7 games, I'll bet you 5 of them go to overtime.
I
I
I
see
think
agree.
it.
it's going to be just a
Yeah.
war, just one of those fun series for everybody to watch, all the way down to, since it's a west or it's a central type game, so it'll still we'll all
Yeah.
be up till 1 a.m. watching it.
Stefano, what do you have for this series? Is it going the distance or?
I think it's simple. I think if we start out like we did with Winnipeg, I can definitely see this being Stars in like 5-6. But I think if we come out where it looked like in game two or game three, I can definitely see the Avalanche taking this in six. I wouldn't say five. I think this is definitely going to be a series longer than is
Mm.
before with the depth and with the performance we've seen in the first round of overcoming adversities of underperforming players. So I'm going to go Avalanche in six here with definitely a couple overtimes included.
All right. Well, 6 or 7 game series. I like the 7 games. We got two 7 game
Yeah.
game sevens in the first round, but there was potential for more. So hopefully we
Well,
get a few more of those big ones this year or this round because there is. I think all the series could potentially go 7 games,
mhm.
because they're all tight and not much separating both of them, both teams. So yeah, I'm gonna say 7 games for this one as well, and. I'm gonna go with the Avalanche because I think they have a bit more star power, and if McKinnon and them go off, I think the Stars will be able to handle them. So, 7 games though, it's gonna go 7, and Avs
There
in
we go.
7 there. All right. Well, thanks guys for coming on the show, talking the Avs and Stars. We'll see who's in round three for our next one, and for the Western Conference final. But until our next video, we'll see you next time.